So guys, in order to adjust the whole thing, so to adjust the head and everything, we need to put everything together, to have all the parts. So to have the ears, to have the eyebrows, and to have the mustaches. We have to have everything. If we don't have it, we cannot basically see what is with what and what is doing. So we have to do it. We have to basically add those things. How to add them? I always find it, even now, I find it a little bit hard to add things. But the best way, for example, to add those ears is to add a plane. Usually, those planar forms, like the ears and those things here, will be easier, and also the eyebrows, to make with plane. But let's first make the eyebrows. Let me show you how to make the eyebrows. So first we go to object mode with Control Tab left. So Control Tab down, Control Tab left, Control Tab down, sculpt mode, Control Tab left, object mode. Now, Shift A and mesh plane. Add one plane. Then immediately go to edit mode and pull it up. Now we want it to point forward, so we will rotate it on the red axis. So I will grab the red, and of course if you don't have this, you have to just press here transform and have this. So I'll rotate it, and then behind me 90, and then I will scale it down on this axis, move it forward on the green one, move it down, and move it this way, and then scale it with S, just with S. Then I will rotate it, and then move it back a little bit. Now, this is the basics of our eyebrows. In order to have this kind of round eyebrows, we need more polygons. Now we cannot, this is one polygon, we cannot you know, tilt it or something. We can tilt it, but we cannot round it up. So what we will do is Control R to add an edge loop, and then with our scroll wheel, because I'm using the mouse now, so Control R, and then with the scroll wheel I will add few more polygons. Now a few more edge loops. Now I think 4 are enough, so double click and we are ready. What I will do now is I will go immediately into sculpt mode, and with the G, with the grab brush, I will start adjusting this. I find it much easier to do this kind of organic forms with sculpt mode, in sculpt mode. Not with sculpt mode, but in sculpt mode. For me it's easier, I don't know. For example, now we have something, and we can easily go to modifiers and add mirror modifiers so we can have it on the other side. So we have both eyebrows, and then if we need, and we probably will need, to make thickness of it, we will add another modifier, which you will get more familiar with because we will use it a lot. This is one of the most used modifiers outside of mirror modifier, is solidify modifier. So mirror is in the middle of the second column, solidify is a little bit more down. And solidify modifier will make it thick. And of course, in the solidify modifier here in the modifier window, we'll have thickness, which is the most important properties of this modifier, which we can increase. And I will increase it a lot. It will go inside the skull, which is not bad. I like it to go this way. For example, if we want to, let's say we want to 3D print this after we are done. If this thickness is very thin, like if it's like this, for example, and it's outside the other object, it's not connected to the other object, it will not 3D print at all. It has to be inside. So the object has to intersect each other in order to 3D print well. That's one of the things. The other thing is if you do it for a game, for example, you want to make this character and then make a low poly and then put it in a game. Then you might want those eyebrows to be a separate mesh at some point, which is okay in the low poly. So then you can rig them and move them in the low poly to make. But this is another think. Of course, if you are a beginner in Blender, you probably have a long way until you're doing this kind of like a, you know, character for a game or something. So we don't have to think about it that much now. We have our eyebrows. Amazing. Now I will go, by the way, in edit mode or as in sculpt mode, we can change between object with just hovering and Alt Q. You see, I'm hovering, pressing Alt Q, hovering, pressing Alt Q, and I can do another object. For now, let me show you what I will do. Since I don't want to create another plane for the sides here, I will use the eyebrows and I will use them for this position here. How I will do that? So let me show you. First, we will select with A everything, the whole eyebrow. Then Shift D, I will duplicate it. Oh, no problem, duplicate. The other way to duplicate it, I think we can press right click and then should be duplicating somewhere here. Let me see. There is no duplicate here. So mesh, duplicate. Yeah, Shift D. So you have to go up here, mesh, duplicate, but Shift D is much more convenient. But I'm showing you in any case that you can do it with the menus too. But Shift D and then move. Place it around here. Then move it back a little bit. Now, this I want to separate. I don't want it in the same mesh as the eyebrows. I want it to be a separate mesh. So what I will do is, let me see if I can do it with the right click. Right click, separate, P, selection. So only the selection will be separated. But this also can be done with just pressing P, selection. Now it's separated. But when you separate something like this, notice that we are still on this here, but we also have this selected. This is a little bit of awkward situation in which you have to Alt Q to the new object, and now we are on the new object and we can go to sculpt mode and just adjust it. The good thing is when you are doing this and you have such a low poly object, you can always fix it with your tools. What I mean by that is, now if we need to put a little bit of edge loop or something, we can do it very easily. But we don't need it for now. For now, we just need to adjust it and put it in position. Let's see how big it should be. I think this is kind of the best place for it, or the best size for it. For now, we can always adjust it later. It's not a problem for us. So the inner portion should be small, and it should be like yeah, something like, let me see, like flat here, and then like this. And then the bottom one should be something like this too. This should be narrower than this. You see how it is here? Narrow, a little bit wider. Narrower, a little bit wider. It's like this. At least that's how I see it, and that's how I will do it. Now, we will go to edit mode again in order to select this with A, select everything, and Shift D and move it down. And now, in sculpt mode, I can move it. Now, something a little bit more advanced here for the sculpt mode. If you want to move those things, they are in one mesh, you want to move them separately, you have to do something. You have to go press N to get this window. Go to Tool, Advanced, and click Topology. What this will do is, it will, whatever mesh you click, whatever part of the mesh you click, you will move only this. If you are not on topology, you will move both meshes. If we have topology in, you will move only one or the other, which is, I think, great. That's what we want, exactly here. Okay, we have this, kind of. Of course, I will press N, and then, for this particular thing, I will add another modifier. So we have mirror modifier now, we have solidify modifier now, and we will add a subdivision surface modifier below that. on the bottom. So we are scrolling with the mouse here on the modifiers to see all the modifiers. So subdivision surface, what we'll do is, you see, we will increase it and it will make sure this is more smooth. But in order for this to look a little bit better with the solidify modifier, what we have to do is be careful now. Watch. We go to the solidify modifier. We go to edge data and we open it. And then crease inner and crease outer, we go to the half of it. And you see what happens? We have a little bit of a sharper angle in here. Maybe a little bit less than a half will be better, because we don't want that sharp of an angle. But now we are having this very nicely, and we need this again here. So subdivision surface for the eyebrows, edge data modifier, go, inner and outer, rim, we don't touch that much the rim, and then here 3 times, and we have a nice eyebrows. You see, now we have eyebrows, we have everything. Now for the ears, I will do another plane. Let's go. Object mode, mesh, plane. You don't have to be afraid. Then always, when you create something, always go to edit mode and start editing it. Don't move it in object mode, because it will mess up a little bit your things afterwards, which we don't want. So I will rotate it, let's say 90 degrees, okay, behind me. Here I write 90, and then move it back. And then with G I move it here, it will be around this area, maybe a little bit more forward, maybe around here. And this will be our ear. It doesn't look like ear now, but it will at some point. Now we need to add more polygons. So in order to add more polygons, we don't need to Control R, add polygon or something. We can just A to select everything, right click, subdivide, right click, subdivide. So I subdivided twice, and now I have enough polygons to start modeling it from the sculpt mode. So now I'll go to sculpt mode, Control Tab down, and then I start modeling. But if I start just modeling it like this, I will ruin the flatness of it. I want it to be flat. So how to look at it exactly from the front and start moving it without moving it back and forward? This is interesting. The shortcut is just above the tab, the button above the tab button. Above the tab is a button which is the tilde key or whatever, I'm not sure. And from that you can get this pie menu and get front. So this is front view, exactly front view. You just zoom in, you don't rotate, and now with the G brush you can basically do whatever you want in order to make a nice ear. You can zoom in even more just to fix this area here, and overall we are having nice things. So the bottom of the ear is narrower than the top. That's what I'm doing here. I will save this as 6, by the way, because this is my 6th video. This is our 6th video. Since you have paid for it or you have downloaded from the torrent, it doesn't matter. What matters is you want to learn Blender, and that's okay. That's completely fine. Whatever you got this course from. But this is something like an ear. I will probably want to move it a little bit sideways, and I will not place it in the position of the ear that's in the concept yet. I just want to have the ear kind of the shape like the concept, which is like a, let me show you, like round shape like this, like a knife, and then here a little bit of a round shape, and this is almost straight line down. But this is narrower than this, a little bit narrower, as you can see. This is narrower, this is a little bit more wide, and it's like a knife shape almost. Yeah, it's like a knife. That's what I'm trying to achieve here, but I'm not trying too hard, because we will change that at some point. Now I need mirror modifier, so I will add mirror, and now we have this. And basically now I rotated and I lost everything. When we are lost, we want to go home. We are sad. what do? We press home on the keyboard and we are back in track. Now, we have those ears. They look great, but they're very thin. How to make them thick? We add another modifier on top of this one, solidify, and we increase the thickness of the solidify modifier. So we have thick ears. For example, if I want to print this at some point, I would like those ears to be very thick, at least as thick as this. If you want this to be just for render or something, they can be thinner. It's not a problem, because here they look a little bit thinner, but if I want to print it, they have to be thick, because otherwise, if I print it like 12 centimeters, like this for example, and it has very thin parts, it will be difficult. This, by the way, is a model from my course, a real game character for real game, made entirely from Blender and a little bit of Substance Painter. And this course is free in my YouTube channel, and also you can buy it if you want to support me, but it's kind of free. But of course, first you need to learn Blender, like we're doing now. So we have those ears. Amazing. And now we need some hairs, and we will finish this. But for the ears, I like to make them a little bit more smooth, so we will add again the subdivision surface. As you can see, those three modifiers I use the most: mirror, solidify, and subdivision surface, in this order. I will go to 3, I will go to edge data of the solidify modifier, increase this a little bit, increase this a little bit, and I will leave it like this. I don't care about it anymore. Now we will start doing a little bit of a hair. So those hairs, how do they look? They look like a sphere, which is elongated a little bit like this. Let's try that. So we go to object mode to create another object. So Control Tab left, object mode. Amazing, very cool. Or we go here and select object mode, which is not that convenient. That's why I'm using Control Tab and the pie menu. Now I will Shift A to add a mesh. Go to add UV sphere with Shift A, and now go to Tab immediately, which is our edit mode, and go up. Then what I will do is scale it with S and move to scale it. Then I will just scale it on one axis. In this case it will be Z axis. I can press S and then Z and scale it on Z axis also, but I usually don't do this. I usually use the transform tool, this one here, as you can see in the left, and I use it for just grabbing the axis and scale. Okay, now I will rotate it, and this will be our first hair, which will point a little bit in this direction. And now I will go immediately Control Tab down to sculpt mode. With G I will start and smooth here and just, move it, smooth it a little bit, and then move it again with the grab brush, of course. So I press G, I can inflate it where I want, just rotate it from all angles, and just see that it's looking kind of fine. We can adjust this layer, of course. This is just preliminary things. Don't worry about it that much. So this will be one of our hairs. This will be the big one here. So we need at least one forward here, smaller, and one on the side, which is almost the same as this one. Then we need others, but we will see. So in order to do that, we have to do again and go again into edit mode. Let's do this. Press Tab, just press Tab. And since this is already selected, we can Shift D to duplicate it and then move it. So Shift D, move it a little bit, and then rotate it, and rotate our scene, go down, and this one will point outward like this, and it will be a little bit smaller. All right, this one is this here. I can even make it like this, but with the grab brush we'll do it. And then another one, which will be pointing forward, be smaller, and it will point even a little bit down, like this. Okay, there will be another one, which will be around this area, so I Shift D, and then move this, and place it here. Don't worry if you cannot move and scale and place those things as fast as me, because you don't need to. You need to just do it. You shouldn't be as fast as myself. I'm fast because I have a lot of practice. So you can do it slowly. Don't worry about it that much. Now we have few of the hairs. Maybe we will put more. We'll see. Now I'll go to sculpt mode, Control Tab down. And now let me just move some of those and make sure they fit together much better. Fit together much better. This one I can smooth just to make it look as the concept. This one will go down. This one also. From the front view it should look good. So I will move them a little bit like this. The thing is that our concept is looking only from 3/4 view. So we have to make sure our model looks good from all angles. From top, from bottom, from front, from back. It doesn't matter. It has to look good. That's why I am looking from all angles and trying to achieve a nice look of our character. Pretty good, right? I think it's pretty good. Now, from this, I will put this down a little bit, those up here, and see. So, in no case, this is easy character. It's not super hard, but it's not very easy either. So, I advise you to take your time and just try to do the forms as better as possible. Look at mine and try to achieve similar result. Or if you want, of course, you can do something a little bit more different. You can do a punk haircut. You can do some other haircut if you want. Artistic, changes are always welcome. I always welcome them. For me, it's very good to have this kind of artistic things people they are doing. I like it very much. I'm always glad if somebody show me something that they have their input inside the model a bit. But the main thing is not to make the best rabbit ever, the best model ever. The main thing is to learn how to use Blender properly, and in the end of this course, with the practice you have, because you have to practice, if you don't practice it will not work, with the practice you have, to be very comfortable when you open Blender, you will be like, oh, feel a little bit more like at home. Because now when I open Blender, I feel very much at home. In ZBrush also, but in Blender also. So that's the thing that I want to teach you a little bit here. How to feel more at home with Blender. That's what we're trying to achieve, mostly. Yeah, maybe the head is a little bit too big from the side view. We can dial it down. We can put the ears a little bit more forward. But overall it doesn't look super bad. I would say it's looking even a little bit fine. The thing is that from the back it's a little bit boring, this part here, the back part. So I'm not sure if I will leave it like this. Probably I will. Because when I 3D printed it at some point I will. I want it to look fine. So we'll see what we will do at some point. For now it looks pretty great. Now in the next video, most likely, because I like to put things, I mean, I'm putting the hairs, I'm putting this, but I'm not refining anything. I'm just putting things, putting. The idea is to put everything, to have everything, to have the body, to have the arms, to have the hands, to have the fingers even, to have the boots, just basic, so we can adjust everything and see how everything fits together, and then starts to do the details, because before you have everything and before everything is in place, to try to do details, it's useless and it will probably lead to some bad results. So we don't want to do that. Okay, I will save this as, is it 7 now? I'm not sure. Let me see. Oh, this is 6. So I save it as a 6. and we are fine. Now in the next video probably we will start doing the body, and I will show you how to do the body, and I will show you how to look at the concept and evaluate which part compared to which part, what is the size, because probably you don't notice, but the head from the tip of the jaw to the top of the ears is the same height as the rest of the body, almost. And most of the people, if you don't understand that, most of you will make the body much bigger, which will not look nice. It will not look as good as this cartoon rabbit with small body and big head. So we have to measure those distances and see to kind of make them work. Okay, so see you in the next video, and we'll see how we will do that.